Hi, this is Lara at Elliott Wave Stock Market with your twice weekly analysis for Apple for the trading session dated Monday the 11th of March. I'm recording this video now 20 past 8 in the evening New York time on Monday New York time. My daily wave counts remains exactly the same. We got upwards movement when I was expecting for the last 3 days to see downwards movement from Apple. Price to the upside breached the short-term invalidation point on the hourly chart, but it's remained below the second invalidation point on the hourly chart, and price may have found resistance at the upper edge of the channel drawn here on the daily chart. I've drawn this channel from this end of intermediate 1 to the end of minor 1 within intermediate 3 and placed a parallel copy on the high of intermediate 2. Price found resistance at the end of minor wave 2 here, and it's probably found resistance again at the end of a second wave. On the daily chart, the invalidation point to the short term remains the same. No second wave correction within minor 3 may move beyond the start of the first wave. This wave count is invalidated at minor degree with movement above 484.94. The targets remain exactly the same. At 365, minor wave 3 will reach equality in length with minor wave 1, and then we'll have a fourth wave correction at minor degree, and the invalidation point will be the low of minor wave 1 here, and then more downwards movement to the next target. At 356, intermediate wave 3 would reach 2.618, the length of intermediate wave 1, and then another longer lasting fourth wave correction and more downwards movement. Primary wave 3, the target's still probably some months away, at 272 will reach 1.618, the length of primary wave 1. And when that's done, this main wave count then diverges with my alternate. This main wave count expects upwards movement for a fourth wave correction at primary degree, which can't move back into primary 1 price territory. At this stage, the main wave count would be invalidated with movement above 505.75, whereas the alternate would require it. So either way, in the short to mid-term, I'm expecting more downwards movement for both of my daily wave counts. Let's have a look at the structure of this last downwards wave on the hourly chart, where the start of minor 3 and the end of minor 2 up here is just off to the left of the chart. Within minor 3, we may have the end of minute 1 and 2, and minute 3 may have begun here. Although I may move this down 1 degree, we may see an extending first wave. If momentum doesn't increase over the next few days to a week or so, I will consider that possibility. If minute 3 has begun here, then minuet 1 is over here, and minuet 2 breached the first invalidation point on the hourly chart, but it's remained below the second point. It's moved price sideways and higher as a double zigzag structure. So we have the first zigzag in the double, labelled W at sub-minuet degree. The double is joined by a 3 in the opposite direction, labelled X. And here we have a 535 second zigzag in the double, labelled sub-minuet wave Y. Price is just short of the 0.618 Fibonacci ratio of minuet wave 1, so we may see a tiny little bit of upwards movement, maybe to touch or slightly overshoot 439.67. I expect that the second wave correction is finally over, and it's extremely unlikely that it's going to continue further sideways as a very rare triple. It would then be quite out of proportion to the first wave that it's correcting. If it's over here, then we should see downwards movement for the next few days from Apple. The target's now recalculated at 384.9. Minuet wave 3 would reach 1.618, the length of minuet 1. When the third wave is done, and it should show an increase in momentum beyond that seen for the first wave as indicated by MACD, when it's done, we'll have a fourth wave correction, and the invalidation point will be here at the low of minuet wave 1, and then further downwards movement. Minute wave 3 will reach 1.618, the length of minute wave 1, at 375. In the short term, any further upwards movement of minuet wave 2, can't move beyond the start of minuet wave 1. This wave count is invalidated at minuet degree with movement above 452.44. On the daily chart, this is my alternate. If cycle wave A is unfolding as a 3-wave flat correction, then primary wave A within it may be unfolding as a 3-wave zigzag structure, a 5-3-5. This alternate also needs to see a 5 downwards complete. If we fail to see an increase in momentum on the daily chart beyond that seen for this 5-wave structure downwards, then this alternate would be correct. It still needs further downwards movement, and the target still remains the same as last calculated. I'm still expecting downwards movement for Apple. Upwards movement for the last 3 days was not what I expected, but it was allowed for within those invalidation points. Upwards movement breached the correction for the sub-minuet degree and turned out to be a continuation of the bigger, minute second wave correction. It's now a double zigzag. The probability of it continuing yet further is very low because triples are very rare indeed. So I have more confidence today in expecting that we should see more downwards movement from Apple for the next few days. That's all for me today with your Apple analysis, and I hope that everyone had a really awesome weekend.